up the series 3-2 with a chance to knock Atlanta out back in Game 6 in the ATL, but the Knicks won 29 points. Game 5 MSG was buzzing. Defense was on point and some key adjustments. Mike Brown starting to coach up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the recap with CT. Hit that like button. You know the drill. Recaps Sunday through to Thursday, post-game lives Friday and Saturday night. If the Knicks don't close this one out on Friday night, there will be a Game 7, and we'll talk about that later in this recap. But the Knicks, right, there was no messing around. Mitchell Robinson putting on a show. Really liked his game, and the Knicks were finding him, man. The ball movement was excellent. The Knicks took the hope out of the Atlanta Hawks in this one early as the Knicks started out strong, right? You always want to get off to a good start, front of the home crowd, and obviously continue their momentum. Now, Jalen Brunson will get a game ball, and we've got some more game balls to give out in a second. But this is the first time that the New York Knicks have won back-to-back playoff games by 15 or more points, ladies and gentlemen. So starting to tighten the screws on some earlier follies, handling their business, learning from their mistakes, and all of that you want to see, right? But the crowd was on point, and the New York Knicks defense with 6 blocks was the key. They shot the 3 ball well. Obviously, Jalen Brunson, best game of the series, which is really, really good news. 39 points from the captain. Played at a faster speed and a tempo. We talked about adjustments earlier. Mitchell Robinson and Cat. Mike Brown talked about wanting to just keep the other team guessing, and I tried the double big lineups in this one, and it paid off. As Cat didn't need to do too much. A solid night overall, man, and one of the best players in this series so far. But OG Anunoby, big time player in this series as well, with Brunson starting to find his groove as well. And we'll give out these game balls in a second. Deuce McBride didn't score a bucket, but we got great contributions from Jose Alvarado again. So a lot of pleasing things to take out of this one. Obviously, the Knicks not messing around with their food. You know, you love to see a game where they just handle their business. And this was not overly competitive. I think from outside of the first kind of 6 minutes, the Knicks led all the way through. And look, I really think the separation so far from a team struggling throughout parts of the season and earlier in the series now is the defense. I really think that's the identity of this team now, ladies and gentlemen. You guys let me know in the comments section, how confident are you feeling? How are you feeling overall right now with this team, looking to get to the second round? But we'll talk about some other results later tonight as well, with Boston, man, crapping the bed against Philly, and that one is going 6 as well. Could go 7 because Game 6 is back in Philadelphia with Joel Embiid having a big performance tonight. So, look, the Knicks don't want to mess around. We'll talk about that in a minute in terms of Game 6 and what lies ahead and what the Knicks need to do. But more of the same, essentially. I think in this game, right, you know, there's a lot more sets and wrinkles to the offense that I'm really seeing. There were some stretches where Brunson was, obviously he was cooking, and he's going to continue to run that offense and dominate the ball throughout the most part. But the force, the decision-making that OG is playing with Cat as well, and I really like the ball finding Mitch on the alley-oops. The Knicks almost doubled the rebounds tonight as well as a Kongu, and Atlanta Hawks just don't have any match for the size of our New York Knicks. Double big lineups, right? Are we going to see more of it, ladies and gentlemen? I hope so, because it was a really good look. And what a time to just throw it out there. Obviously, we wanted to see it earlier, but Quinn Snyder and the Atlanta Hawks probably weren't expecting that. You know, they probably thought the Knicks aren't going to change up too much. They were dominant in game 4, and they're probably going to do the same. So big credit to Mike Brown. I want to talk about Mike Brown in a minute because he's starting to flip the script after a really poor start and deserving all the criticism. But at the same time, if you're going to criticize, you also got to give credit where credit is due. Ladies and gentlemen, what we're looking at on the screen right now is 3 game balls, but this is significant for me personally because there's a clear definition now. What I'm seeing, there's a clear hierarchy with this team, and all of our 3 highest paid players, the 3 best players on this team, are becoming the 3 most consistent right now. And that could mean championship rings, ladies and gentlemen, right? Yes, you love to see Josh Hart influence games. You love to see Mitch. You love to see Alvarado influence games. Hell, you love to see the 15th man, Johan, put up 10 points. But truth be told, if we're going to win a championship, ladies and gentlemen, you need these 3 dudes, these 3 cats on screen being our best players. And we're seeing that from it's been 3 games running now. I know the Knicks lost game 3, but the second half, the Knicks dominated that game and had a furious comeback after Mike Brown put Deuce in the lineup. But, we'll look at some lineup data on our live stream on the weekend. But yeah, basically when Deuce is playing with these 3 guys, you could throw Hart in there or Mitch. And the numbers are just unbelievable. Where the on and off numbers are incredible with these guys. 6 blocks, but with Cat, his resurgence, we've got to start with the big bodega on the left, right? I think he's my player of the series. Well, it could be a coin flip between OG. Definitely hear you and feel you if you want to give the season series to OG so far, but we've still got 1 more to play, maybe 2 more. We'll talk about that in a minute. Don't want to get too carried away because, in the words of Kobe, the job ain't done, right? Job's not done. The Knicks got their experience. It was great to see no letdown and not let the Hawks hang around. But as Kat actually said at the podium, fam, and I love this quote, the most difficult game to win is the game that'll end the other team's season. And that'll be the elimination game, game 6. But look, the Hawks are young. I think the Knicks got their measure right now, man. I think they're on the verge of breaking. Look, credit to the Hawks. They didn't give up by any means. It was a 14-point ball game, in the second half. And if the Hawks were able to hit a couple shots, maybe that would have become below double digits. But the Knicks really looked in control all the way. I'm feeling really good about the bench production now. I think that's really changed throughout the series as well. There's been a lot of things change. I was clamoring for Tyler Kolek after game 3, but Mike Brown stuck to the guns. Alvarado's definitely repaying the faith that Mike Brown has shown in him. Jordan Clarkson, talk about repaying the faith, man. Those 2 guys very productive off the bench. Clarkson plus 14 with 9 points, 3 of 7. And Alvarado, 4 of 7, 2 of 3 from downtown. So Alvarado's really found his stroke. Man, MSG crowd was serenading his name. And he was absolutely buzzing in the locker room, talking to the reporters about what it feels like to be a hometown kid, hearing your name being chanted at MSG among the Knicks faithful. So great to see Alvarado, man. I really feel like what we got with Deuce, Clarkson, and Alvarado, right? Not to just point out the obvious, but we've got 3 guys that can handle the ball. And I think that's been really key for the Knicks, getting better ball movement, being able to keep the defense guessing. We know Deuce ain't the best playmaker, but when you got Clarkson who can create a shot, Alvarado's starting to find some offense as well off the dribble. It's big time. It really is. And obviously shooting 42% from downtown is really key as well. And look, in the nick of time, Jalen Brunson, man, he's just starting to find his stroke. 15 of 23, monstrous performance, man. We've got some stats to highlight as Jalen Brunson etches his name into more history books, right? I've got a key stat that I'm going to bring up. But yeah, the game ball, I'm going to give it to Cat, Brunson, and OG because I really feel like, especially over the last 2-3 games, our 3 best players have come to play. But I cannot leave out this man. I really feel like when the Knicks' backs were to the wall, down 1-2. Josh Hart, game 4, he set the tone, man. And last game, game 4 in Atlanta, Josh Hart's some of the best defense I've ever seen him play. So congrats to Hart. Really changed this series as well with his defense on Jalen Johnson, who has been an incredible player, man. He might get all NBA if he hasn't already. As we see some highlights, man. Sohan, 10 points in 3 minutes off the bench late. Good to see him, get rewarded. These guys get some mop-up duties and help our main gunners, man, rest up on the bench. So really feel good night overall with our guys stepping up and claiming victory by 29 points and not giving any hope to the Atlanta Hawks. Now, let's talk about game 6, right? What lies ahead? It is probably going to be the most difficult game, I think, on the season, right? I think you start strong and you can really take out the crowd. Well, it's probably going to be mostly Knicks, more than 50% Knicks, because I do think that obviously Atlanta fans, man, they are fair weather fans. So I do think that the Knicks crowd will get loud early if the Knicks play justifies it. The Knicks got to get off to a strong start because again, like Kat said, the toughest game to win is the game that ends the other team's season, right? So you got to come out focused. Now, I don't want no parts of Game 7. Right? I think the Knicks would still win a Game 7, and we'll talk about it if it happens. But yeah, given the fact that the Boston series could go 7 with Game 6 in Philadelphia, or if Boston take care of business and end the series in Philadelphia, which is still very possible. I think Embiid picked up another injury, but what else is new? The Knicks shouldn't be messing around. They should be trying to end this series straight away. It should not have gone 6 in the first place. I think, I'm going to pull up a key stat in a minute where the Knicks' victory's obviously been by 11, I think 15 and 29, and the 2 wins Atlanta have been by 1 point and 1 point. So the Knicks clearly deserve this series. They should close it out earlier. But Game 6, you've got to set the tone early and take the any hope out of the Atlanta Hawks in this one. Should we see more double bigs, or is Mike Brown going to throw another wild card in the mix, right? So he says it gave us a different look. When you play a 7-game series, a lot of times it's about trying to keep your opponent off balance. Throwing in the double bigs out there gives us a different look, right? So before we move on and talk about the next topic, this is a perfect opportunity to give some thoughts about Mike Brown, right? Deserved all the criticism, man. Down 2-1. First 3 games were terrible. I feel like he knew what he always knew. We all knew what's going to beat the Hawks, but he tried to get too clever. He tried to get too cocky, experiment a little too much with keeping the bench lineups out there too long, not utilizing Cat, all of those things. But guess what? He corrected it, right? And he deserves credit for that because you can make mistakes. It didn't work out, but he corrected it, and we look great. The New York Knicks look really strong. The rotations look strong. He's trusting the right guys, I think. They're repaying him with Clarkson Alvarado, like I spoke about. Deuce is starting to play really well. Obviously didn't have a great game offensively tonight compared to the last one. But like I said, nevertheless, I do think that, you got to adjust. And Mike Brown's talked about it there, fam, as well. So we've got some Celtic fans talking about Knicks are already going to genuinely demolish us again. So I felt like that deserved a shout out. Jason of Tatum account. But you see, ladies and gentlemen, Jalen Brunson now is the 3rd most 35-point playoff games by a point guard in NBA history. Point guard. 3rd most 35-point playoff games, man. Think about all the greats. Think about Allen Iverson. Think about Steve Nash. Think about Kyrie Irving. Think about Steph Curry. Ladies and gentlemen, Jalen Brunson is among the best, the elite of the elite. His name in the history books, right? Can we get a thumbs up for that? Knicks buzz. uh, third most 35-point performances. And yeah, these stats tell the story, man. Knicks by 11, 16, 29, and the Hawks win 2 games by a total of 2 points, which was a absolute mess up from our New York Knicks. Um, so as we continue to roll some more highlights and we talk about Game 6 moving forward, fam, let us know in the comment section, man. What do you want to see? What do the Knicks need to do to close this one in Game 6, right? Mitch ended up on the end of a lot of lobs. I just think we've got to play at a good speed. Um, how could I also not point out the series changed when we guarded up CJ, right? You could talk about maybe CJ slowing down, as we spoke on with EJ, my co-host and brother, in the live stream after the Game 4 win. I spoke about, yeah, CJ, 35, 36 years old, maybe 34. Apologies if I'm aging the man, but point is, I think CJ is slowing down for many reasons, but I think the Knicks' defense on him has been phenomenal. Mike Brown made another adjustment to make sure that he doesn't have, make sure he doesn't have that space to operate. They're picking him up full court. Deuce is a part of that. Alvarado, Josh Hart. The Knicks got the bodies, man. The Knicks just got too many weapons, fam. And truth be told, man, we should be in the NBA for as I want to talk around the East right now. Not to get too carried away, like I said, because I believe the Knicks are capable of winning any game. They're capable of losing any game. I think we're consistently inconsistent, but it's hard not to see how good we look right now when it all comes together. And I do think it'll be a damn shame if the Knicks don't get to the finals because I think we're better than Boston. We'll see what Philly can do. Game 6. I love that one to go 7 and and really cause some tight cheeks in that series among the fan bases. But yeah, the Knicks got to close this one out in 6. They do have home court, Game 7 if needed. What are the chances that could happen, man? I'll probably put this at 80-20. I think we close it out in 6. Feature the big cat. Get Alvarado continuing to be a menace. I think Clarkson's been good. He's confident now. And we should be there, man, into the second round. It would be cool if we can wrap our series up before Boston does, fam. And we could watch a Game 7 against Philly in Boston, man. I mean, crazy things have happened, man. It looks like the 1-8 seed. Great to see Detroit on the verge of elimination, man. I want to talk a lot more about that on the live stream on the weekend, but let's see. Looks like Franz Wagner's picked up another injury, so. But I do think a Magic have enough to close the Pistons out. They only need to win one of the next 3, man. 3-1, commanding lead, and I think Detroit screwed up royally at the trade deadline, man. They missed Malik Beasley, and they also missed Dennis Schroeder. They don't have enough creation and scoring. And that's why I think the Knicks, it'll be a failure if we don't get to the finals. With all due respect to these other teams, I think we're built for it. We've got the right guys. We're healthy. We've got so many different weapons. It's just all about coaching, execution, adjustments, and just keeping up the physicality. You know, the teammates have shouted out OG for playing physical, playing with a force, and that's what the playoffs are all about, ladies and gentlemen. And look, not everyone's gonna, not everyone is gonna have great nights at the same time. Obviously, like I said, Deuce hit too many, didn't hit any shots really in this one tonight, but Alvarado picked him up. You see, huge block from OG. But yeah, the ball movement's got to continue. Fine OG, keep the confidence going, man. The ball has got energy right now. But look, the Hawks, they're really a 1 or 2 man band with CJ and Jalen Johnson. I think Kaminga's more of he's a quintessential role guy. But I think Jock Landale being out, got to give him an honourable mention. I think the series might have been slightly more competitive. We'll see. I don't think Jock Landale will be available for Game 6, maybe a Game 7. I think he was supposed to be reevaluated after a Game 6-ish, but looks like Cat is just too big, too dominant. They've got no answer for him, and I think he'll have an even better series against the Celtics, right, with Nikola Vucevic being a traffic cone. They're going to need Cater in that series. Look, the Hawks got their 2 games. They've got a bright future. They've got flexibility, cap space, all of that. This just come out a year or two too soon. I think Dyson Daniels really needs to develop some kind of offense as well. Ideally, you need your gunner being younger than a CJ McCollum, but they stole their two. They stole their 2 games. I think that was the max that they were ever kind of going to get, and the Knicks just need to learn from their mistakes, and I think they're on the right track. We are on the right path to victory. You see Sohan knocking down threes, man. It's a wrap when Jeremy Sohan is knocking down threes in garbage time at MSG, fam. That's when you pull out the champagne and you have yourself a good night, ladies and gentlemen. So that's all I got on the recap. I think the Knicks close it out in Game 6. Stay tuned for the recap. But yeah, I'm interactive in the comment section. Let us know your thoughts. Knicks buzz. Let's get it. Orange and blue. See you in the second round.